Hello and welcome to this webinar, which is specifically designed for those who are applying to Ulster University from the Republic of Ireland. You may be a Leaving Cert student in your 5th year or going into 6th year, or perhaps you are a QQI level 5 student or a mature student from the Republic of Ireland, and you want to understand what the application process is like, how much it costs to study at Ulster University, and everything else in between. This webinar is specifically dedicated to you. So my name's Conán. I'm the Student Outreach and Recruitment Officer here at Ulster University, and I am the point of contact for Republic of Ireland applicants. And in this short webinar, I want to explain a few things about Ulster University that you as a Republic of Ireland applicant should know about us as a university and about the Northern Ireland higher education system when it comes to the UCAS application process, for example, as well as fees and finance. So over the next half an hour, hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll have a clear idea as to what's required if you're considering applying to Ulster University. Before I talk specifically about entry requirements and fees, I want to introduce ourselves as a college and as a university and give you a little bit of a sense as to who we are. So if you don't already know, we are a multi-campus institution based across 3 locations in the north of Ireland. And not only that, if you don't already know, we are Ireland's 2nd largest university. So we're pretty big. We have over 27,000 students studying across 3 campuses here in Northern Ireland. And if I could point your attention to the map on the right-hand side, you'll see the locations of each of those campuses and their travel time from Dublin. So, but regardless of whether you're coming from Dublin or Donegal or anywhere else in Ireland, we are only up the road. We're only a few hours drive, regardless of which part of the island that you're coming from. So this is where we're based. You can see that we have 3 campuses: our Belfast campus in County Antrim, our Coleraine campus in County Derry on the north coast, and on our Magee campus here in Derry, Londonderry. And each of our campuses have a distinct course identity. So depending on the course that you're interested in at Ulster University, your course would determine the location on which you study. So for example, at our Magee campus here in Derry City, there are lots of health courses such as nursing, such as paramedic science, as well as our allied health programs as well. If you're interested in the likes of the creative industry subjects or maybe even business and management, then you would study at our Belfast City Centre campus. And finally, if you're interested in maybe perhaps saving the planet courses, such as environmental science, geography, and even pharmacy, then you would study at our Coleraine campus. So that's what's so special about each of our campuses, is that they have a distinct course identity. Before I talk specifically about Ulster University programs, I want to ask the simple question, whether you're a Leaving Cert student, whether you are a QQI level 5 student, as to why you should choose Ulster University or apply to Ulster University over CAO programs and colleges. And anytime I'm asked this, I give 5 simple reasons. The first of which is that in terms of our entry requirements, unlike CAO, there's no points lottery. So what that means is on results day, the entry requirements that you see now published on our prospectus and on our online prospectus will be what's required in order to have your offer confirmed on results day. In CAO, however, the entry requirements may change on results day, and in a lot of instances, they actually increase. Our entry requirements never increase. So it means that you can apply to us with certainty. The second reason is that in terms of tuition fees, if you avail of a tuition fee loan, it means you can forget about fees during your study. It means you don't pay a cent whilst you're with us, and it delays the payment of tuition fees until you graduate and until you're earning over roughly about €23,000. And this takes away the stress of having to worry about where you're going to find the money for €3,000 every year, as it is in CAO, and it allows you to actually just enjoy your college experience. The third reason is also finance related, and that is in comparison with studying in the likes of Dublin and Cork even, in college costs, you could save yourself up to €12,000 across 3 years of study if you choose Ulster University over those other college locations in Ireland. So that's certainly more than a small fortune, and that is money that's better off in your back pocket. And it would allow you to get a leg up after graduation, having saved that money in order to maybe save for a mortgage or a car or whatever it is. Typically, the comparison in college cost, the difference in college cost that you're saved, this €12,000, is typically accommodation costs, because we know there's a student accommodation crisis right now across Ireland. At Ulster University, we're not seeing that as much. And that means that our accommodation is half the amount of what you would expect to pay in Dublin or Cork. And speaking of accommodation, if you receive an offer from Ulster University for one of our courses, we will guarantee you on-campus accommodation if you book by the 7th of July, 2022. On-campus accommodation as part of your offer package. So it means that and speaking of accommodation, we will guarantee you on-campus accommodation if you receive an offer for one of our courses here at Ulster University. And again, unlike the system in the Republic of Ireland, there's no accommodation lottery. Our accommodation is here on campus, and it is affordable, and it has all the mod cons you would expect to find in any reasonable student accommodation. And finally, the fifth reason, which I think is really relevant right now when considering college or where you might apply, is the cost of living. It is going up. It's going up everywhere. It's going up globally. Nowhere is safe from the rise of the cost of living increase. However, still here in Northern Ireland, it is typically lower and more affordable to study here, to work here, and to live here than anywhere else in the UK or Ireland. So that's why we can tell you that you would save more money if you study at Ulster University than other student locations in Ireland. So those are 5 reasons that I think, if you are from the Republic, from the south of Ireland, that I would definitely be considering Ulster University for September 2023 entry. Let me give you a sense as to what our undergraduate programs look like, because as Ireland's second largest university, we have a lot. We have over 250 undergraduate programs and many different ways and subjects to study. A lot of our subjects, a lot of our courses are offered on a full-time basis, which is 3 years of study. Now, some courses, for example, are 4 years of study and potentially 5 years. 4 years courses include the likes of optometry and pharmacy. They are compulsory 4 years of study, but roughly about 90% of all our other undergraduate programs are 3 years of study. And they include the likes of law, the likes of social work, the likes of nursing, the likes of physiotherapy, where what you'll find in CAO and in colleges in the south of Ireland is those courses are 4 or even maybe 5 years. Our part-time courses are a little bit longer. They range between 4 and 5 years. And a really important part of an Ulster University program, whether it's part-time or full-time, is the addition of an optional year for a lot of our courses for an opportunity for you to either go on work experience or work industry placement, as we call it here, or a year or a semester of study abroad. And this isn't a year of opportunity for you to explore different locations, different industries, get a little bit of work experience, gain new skills. And then when you come back into your final year, it allows you to have something to talk about when you're applying for jobs. And our courses are actually ranked and recognized as academically excellent across Ireland and the UK. For example, we actually outcompete many different colleges in many subject areas across these islands. For example, just last year, on this island in Ireland, we outcompeted every other college and institution for nursing. So we're now the #1 provider of nursing programs in Ireland. On a UK basis, out of 300 universities in England, Scotland, Wales, and here in the north of Ireland, We outcompete them all in areas such as hospitality, where we're number one, pharmacy, we're also number one. We're second for optometry, third for land and property management, and we rank in the top 10 and top 15 across a range of other subject areas, including civil engineering, food science, as well as art and design. So you can be confident that if you are thinking about studying at Ulster University, or at least applying, you are applying to a highly regarded institution. Now, let me give you a look at what our program structure looks like, because as I've mentioned before, you're given an optional year between year 2 and year 4 to either go on work industry placement or study abroad. Now, this third year, which is optional for the majority of our courses, sometimes it is compulsory depending on the program that you choose. So for example, those courses that I've mentioned that are 4 years, like pharmacy and optometry, this third year would be compulsory, in which you complete primarily work placement. But for all other programs and courses, this year is entirely optional, and that means that you don't have to do it. We as a university, we encourage you to consider it because the skill set and the reward that you get for undertaking this year puts you well ahead of your graduate competition when it comes to applying for jobs. But you're giving two routes if you decide to take this third year. And as I've already mentioned, the first route is to go on what's called work industry placement or work experience. And this is where, through the university, we will match you to an employer. You will apply to them as like a normal employee application process. And should you be successful, you become a full-time employee of that organization. And they treat you as an employee. They pay you a full-time professional salary for the year. And basically what you get in return is an insight into the industry, experience in the industry, an opportunity to connect and network with lots of senior people and people who are well established in these companies and in these industries. So again, by the time you return to your fourth and final year of study, you have a wealth of experience to talk about when you're applying for jobs and when you are interviewing for jobs. So what you now see on the screen is just a snapshot of some of the companies and organizations, both here in Ireland, but also further afield, as to where we routinely send our students as part of a work industry placement program. And what we typically find is that when our students complete these placement programs, a lot of the companies will actually invite our students to apply to them in their final year of a graduation for any upcoming vacancies that they may have. So that is the work industry placement opportunity. If I just return to study abroad, so study abroad is simply when you undertake to, as it says on the tin, study abroad, study at a foreign college or institution from between 6 months or up to 12 months, where you will become a student of that college. You will undertake modules at that college similar to the subject or course that you're applying to, and you become a student for the length of time that you're there. Now, with both work industry placement and study abroad, if you complete both or either of those programs successfully, you are given a separate qualification in addition to your degree program for recognition that you've completed those degrees or those routes. So if you decide to go on work industry placement, at the end of your degree, you are given a diploma in professional practice. And if you complete a study abroad program, you're given a diploma in international academic studies. And both these awards are a recognition of your willingness to go above and beyond the comfort zone by exploring new things and taking on new challenges. So let me now turn to the entry requirements. So what are the entry requirements for Republic of Ireland applicants thinking about applying to Ulster University? Now, obviously, you might be a Leaving Cert student, or you might be a QQI level 5 student, or you might be a mature student who has done their qualifications many moons ago. For the purpose of this section, I will talk primarily about the entry requirements for Leaving Cert students. If you are a QQI level 5 student, please get in touch with us directly and we will answer any queries you have about the program that you're currently, or the qualification that you're currently pursuing at a PLC, and what the entry requirements are for any of our programs. For Leaving Cert entry requirements, this is what I'm going to talk about now. And when it comes to the entry requirements for anybody who's currently studying a Leaving Cert, first of all, you must currently be studying 5 Leaving Cert subjects. At the time of application to Ulster University, you need to be studying 5 Leaving Cert subjects, 4 of which must be currently at higher level. So you must be studying 5 Leaving Cert subjects, 4 of which must be at higher level. Now, the only subject that we ask for at a general level is English, and we ask for either an ordinary level 4 or a higher level 6 in English. We don't ask for a second or third language, unless, of course, you're applying to the likes of Irish language and literature, then we would ask for Irish language Leaving Cert. But for all other courses, we only ask for English as a language. But be advised that some courses at Ulster University will ask for specific subjects. So, for example, our pharmacy degree program asks you to have chemistry plus 1 other science subject. Our physiotherapy degree program asks you to have physics plus 1 other science subject. So please look at the entry requirements online or in our prospectus before applying to Ulster University. You want to make sure that you are currently studying these subjects that are required before making your application. So let me now talk about UCAS points, because in addition to those general entry requirements, you need to meet the specific UCAS points tariff for the course that you're applying for. Each of our courses has a specific UCAS points tariff, and there is an asterisk here, and that is with the exception of allied health courses and biology. Those particular programs ask for specific grades, not UCAS points. But for all other programs at Ulster University, we will ask for a UCAS points tariff, and you need to meet this tariff in order to have your place confirmed on the course. Now, when it comes to totting up the UCAS points, you can use all of your Leaving Cert grades on results day, with the exception of Leaving Cert vocational program, so LCVP. That's the only subject you can't use when totting up the points. But for all other subjects that you're studying, you can use them all when calculating how many points that you've achieved. So you can see here on the right-hand side our UCAS points tariff table, and you can see the UCAS points in pink. You can see what each grade is worth in terms of UCAS points. So higher level grades are in mint green and ordinary level grades are in violet, and what they equate to in UCAS points. And depending on whether you're doing 6, 7, or 8 subjects, you can use and predict what you will get in each subject in order to get a sense as to how achievable or maybe how difficult it is to get onto a certain course. But again, remember, our UCAS points do not change on results day. They will stay the same. Where you can find information on our entry requirements is, like any good college or university, it's on our website. And on our course finder, you'll find all the courses of interest that you may be interested in applying to. You'll see where they're located, the various career pathways that are associated with those courses. And finally, what you're probably most interested in right now is the entry requirements for Leaving Cert. So you can see here that we ask for 112 UCAS points for marketing, for example. And on our website, we offer this UCAS points tariff table in order for you to fully understand what we are asking for from each subject that you're studying. So with that said, I now want to turn our attention to fees and finance. So how much does it cost to study at Ulster University, or in the UK, or in the north of Ireland? How much does it all cost? Well, at Ulster University, whilst there is a tuition fee system, so there are fees which need to be paid every year, the good news is that you don't have to pay a cent while you study. And that's because as Republic of Ireland applicants, you are eligible for student finance, or a tuition fee loan, which will cover the cost of all of your fees, 100% of the fees, until you graduate and until you're earning over a certain amount of money. This is called a tuition fee loan. So the fees itself aren't something that you need to pay up front unless you absolutely wish to. But if you decide to take on the tuition fee loan, it means you don't pay anything throughout your degree program. There's no upfront fees in that sense, and there's no student levy charge. In other colleges and universities in Ireland, they will expect you to pay some sort of levy charge. The contribution fees, the upfront fees are €3,000. And some colleges do have this levy charge, which could be up to €250, which needs to be paid upfront upon enrolment. At Ulster University, we don't charge any of our students upfront fees or a student levy charge. We only have the tuition fee system, which, like I say, you can have that covered for the duration of your degree program if you avail of a tuition fee loan. So let me introduce how the tuition fee loan system works. So first of all, if you're eligible for the tuition fee loan, you will get 4 years of fee coverage. So although our degree programs are typically 3 years, if you need to repeat a year or if you take a year out, you get this year of flexibility where you're given the 4 years of fee coverage. Fees are paid directly to the college or university by student finance. They're not paid by you, they're paid by student finance. And that means that you pay nothing during your study, you pay nothing until you graduate, and finally, you pay nothing until you earn over the salary threshold. The salary threshold is currently £20,195, which is just shy of €24,000 with current currency conversion estimates. Once you begin to earn over £20,195, it's only then that you'll begin to repay your fees. And what you repay is 9% of your income over the salary threshold. So you're given a window of 25 years once you are eligible, or once you graduate rather, 25 years after graduation to pay your fees off. And regardless of how much or little that you've repaid, your loan is cancelled at the end of the 25 years. The great news is that this does not affect your credit score. It doesn't go on your credit file for a mortgage or for a car, and it can't be used against you in the future, regardless of how much you've paid or how little you've paid off. So that means you could potentially go to university and never fully repay back your fees. And a lot of instances, that's exactly what happens. But I should really emphasize, it doesn't go on your credit file. It's not used against you for any financial decision in the future. So it's really good in that way. So let's talk about how much you would typically expect to repay after you begin earning over the salary threshold. So let's say, for example, you've graduated from Ulster University and you begin earning a salary of £28,000. So the income over the salary threshold would be £7,805. So basically we take your salary and we take £20,195 away, because that's the salary threshold, and we get £7,805. 9% or 10% of £7,805 is £780. So that would be your annual repayment. That's how much you pay per year. But your repayments isn't a one-off annual payment. It's taken every month out of your salary. So we divide £780 by 12 and we get £65 per month that you would repay back your fees. Now, it comes out of your salary automatically. The student finance company work this out with you after graduation, and it comes out of your salary almost like a graduate tax. And that will fluctuate depending on your salary earnings. So if, for example, you have a job at £28,000 and then it drops to £26,000, your repayments are adjusted depending and are proportionate to what you're actually earning. But it's always a drop in the ocean compared to what you're taking home, which is the main point. So just to really show you here what that looks like, again, until you begin earning over £20,195, you pay nothing back And that's regardless of whether you never earn over £20,195, you would never pay a single penny or cent back. And then, of course, you can see that as you begin earning more money and you're taking home more money per month, your monthly repayments increase. But it means that you're not front loading the cost of higher education before you've actually enrolled on the degree program. You are future proofing it into the future, so after graduation. And it means that when you are in a financially sustainable position, when you can afford to pay fees, it's only then that you begin to pay them back. So the fee loan application system, how it works then. So first of all, you will go to studentfinance.ni.co.uk and you will be looking for the EU 23N form. Now, this form is not available yet. It usually comes out in the year of entry. So this will be available from early 2023 onwards for the September 2023 entry. And this is the form to which you will apply in order to have your fees fully covered. The criteria, most importantly, is that in order to qualify for financial support for your fees, you must be resident or have been resident in the EU for at least 3 years minimum prior to application in order to qualify. So if you have lived at any time outside of the EU within the last 3 years, you would not be eligible to apply for the fee loan. And the application deadline, Student Finance typically recommends that you submit the application by the 31st of May of the year of entry in which you're going into, because it can take between 6 and 8 weeks in order to process the application. Now, if you're eligible for any SUSI maintenance, you can get this directly from SUSI. So you will apply to SUSI for maintenance funding only, not fee support. You will apply to Student Finance Northern Ireland or Student Finance Services EU directly for fee support. Now, some courses at Ulster University, you won't need a tuition fee loan for, and that's because there are a select number of courses that are fully funded by the Department for Health. We call these Department for Health funded courses. And what that means is that there are no tuition fees for students to pay. So there's no need for our students to take out the tuition fee loan because it's fully funded. These are both our allied health courses, of which you can see the list now on your screen. And if you apply to one of these courses and you are successful and you enroll on the degree program with us at Ulster University, you will have nothing to pay during or after graduation. These are fully funded by the Department for Health. So those courses are diagnostic radiography and imaging, dietetics, occupational therapy, paramedic science, physiotherapy, podiatry, radiotherapy and oncology, and speech and language therapy. And secondly, as part of the application process, you are required to undertake an interview in order to have your place confirmed on the course. So this is an important part of the application process that our students are required to sit down either in an in-person interview or maybe an online video interview, and you will be asked questions to assess your suitability to the programs to which you are applying. It is only for the programs here, so these allied health programs, but in the next slide, you'll also see programs that also require an interview as part of the application process. So secondly, our School of Nursing are also funded by the Department for Health. And in addition to the fact that there are no fees to pay, like allied health programs, in addition to that, our students receive a Department for Health bursary that's non-means tested of up to £5,100 for every year of study. So our students get that for every year that they're with us on a 3-year degree on our School of Nursing programs. And that applies to both adult nursing, which is the exact same as general nursing in the Republic, and mental health nursing. Those are the two programs to which you get both the tuition fees paid for, as well as the Department for Health bursary. Like the allied health programs, you're required to undertake an interview as part of your application in order to determine your admissibility. and suitability to these degree programs. Between both allied health programs and School of Nursing, these programs are all about people. They're all either about saving people's lives or improving people's lives or making a difference in their lives. And so our admissions team, as well as the Department for Health, through the interview, want to make sure that we're getting the best people for the program who can exercise various skills, attitudes, and attributes that are typical of a healthcare professional. And finally, I want to touch on accommodation costs, because if you are from the Republic and maybe you're coming up from the Midlands or Dublin, you're likely going to need somewhere to stay. And thankfully at Ulster University, our accommodation is one of the most affordable anywhere in the UK, and I would speculate to guess probably in Ireland too. We typically offer contracts for accommodation on a 37-week basis. That can be extended through the summer, depending on the program that you're studying. So for example, our School of Nursing and Allied Health program students, it's a full calendar year. And so they would be offered the opportunity to spend the summer with us on campus. And before I look at the cost and show you how much exactly it costs to study or live with us on campus at Ulster University, you get all the mod cons that you would typically expect to find in any student accommodation, any reasonably designed and reasonable conditions student accommodation anywhere in the UK and Ireland. And that includes 24/7 security, it includes free car parking, it includes Wi-Fi, includes the opportunity for you or your daughter to bring their family on campus and stay with them. And there's a range of support and various utilities and amenities on campus that makes our accommodation packages really value for money. So this is a brief look at what our typical costs start at per week. And this is an example from our McGee campus, which would be typically our most affordable campus here in the Northwest in Derry City. And as you can see, for a single bed room in a shared dormitory, you would be paying €105 per week. So that is a shared dormitory, not a room. I should emphasize that it is a shared dormitory, if with a shared a toilet and showering facilities too. If, however, you want a little bit more luxury, maybe you don't want to share the shower or the toilet facilities, then you can upgrade that to €120 per week as well. So regardless of how much luxury you want, the price fluctuates, but it is still vastly more affordable than those very popular and densely populated student living centres, for example, in Dublin, which we've already discussed. So just to recap on the fees and finance, in Northern Ireland, you don't have to pay tuition fees upfront. Some of our courses don't have any tuition fees, and that's great news for students thinking about studying in the north of Ireland, that you don't have to pay your tuition fees up front, or if your course doesn't have fees, then happy days. For students who are applying to courses that do have fees, you can avail of student finance to cover the cost of university. And if you need any maintenance funding, you can get that from SUSI. And you only have to pay back your tuition fee loan once you've graduated and once you've earned over the salary threshold. So it works out kind of like a study now, pay later scheme. And again, means you're taking away the stress and the hassle of worrying about fees and finance and just focusing on your college study and having a great time. So let me now come on to the final section of UCAS, and this is the application system to which you must apply if you are considering Ulster University for September 2023 entry. So UCAS is the college application process for universities in the UK and here in Northern Ireland, and it really is a simple process. It can be done in 6 easy steps. It is an online application like CAO. So your first step is going to be to create an account over at ucas.com/apply, and you'll be registering for September, the year of entry that you want to study. So it'll be September 2023 entry. There are various sections on the UCAS application form you must complete, including personal information, where you're currently living, where you're currently studying, what qualifications you have thus far, what qualifications you are pursuing, and any other relevant information that you feel you need to give. If you have any additional learning needs, there is a section on the UCAS application form that you can input that information, and that information gets sent directly to university, so that if you're successful in receiving an offer from that university, it means that we can make reasonable adjustments if you have additional learning needs before you arrive here with us on campus. So once you've completed all that information, you will then choose 5 courses, up to 5 courses across lots of different universities and colleges across the UK. As part of your application, you're also required to write a personal statement briefly outlining why you've applied to that course, why you feel that you're a good candidate for studying on that course, and anything interesting or relevant about yourself that you feel would support your application. On UCAS, you are required to nominate a referee as part of your application who can write a short character reference about you, about your academic ability, and why they believe you should be made an offer for the course. Typically, this will be someone who knows your academic achievements well. It can't be your family, unsurprisingly. So we recommend that you choose your guidance counselor or a teacher that you know well. And finally, you will pay for your application. There is a cost to this application, but what you'll immediately notice is that it is much more affordable than CAO. If you wish to just apply for one course, it's £22. But if you wish to apply for all 5 courses, you get much better value. It's £27 for all 5 courses. And once you've paid for your application, you simply submit it. And then you simply await college and university decisions. The UCAS deadline for September 2023 entry is the 25th of January 2023. And that's an important deadline because a lot of courses that you might be interested in, like allied health programs and School of Nursing, that is a very strict deadline. Now you can make late applications beyond this deadline, but for those particular courses like nursing and like allied health programs, you cannot apply to those programs beyond the 25th of January. So it's really important that if you're interested in those programs, to have your application in by the 25th of January. I want to briefly talk about the personal statement because it is an important part of the UCAS application process. It allows you to talk more about yourself than what is already provided in your application. And so I want to give you a sense as to what the personal statement looks like and what the parameters of the personal statement are. So first of all, I should note it is a really short statement. It's not an essay, it's not a thesis, it's certainly not an encyclopedia. It is a very short statement about who you are and why you're applying to the course. It's only 4,000 characters. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's only 500 to 550 words, which is basically an A4 page of size 12 font. Or it's 47 lines, again, approximately an A4 page, but it's whichever you get to first. So on the UCAS application, they have an open text box, which you can write your personal statement into, and depending on what you get to first, whether it's 4,000 characters or 47 lines, it won't let you go any further. So we actually recommend you to write your personal statement in a word processing document like Microsoft Word. First of all, so that you can get a draft, you can word count it, because you don't have that function on the UCAS application form. You can just have a better sense as to how it reads. And it is a plain text field. So that means you don't have the opportunity to express yourself through making things bold or underlining anything or highlighting text or coloring it in. It is a plain text personal statement. As I've mentioned, it's designed to support your UCAS application, and it's your chance to articulate anything that you feel is relevant outside of the information that you've already given that will show your passion for your chosen field. And also just general skills, general life skills that you think might be desirable to a university. Maybe it's a leadership skill. Maybe you play in a sports team like camogie or football or whatever it is, rugby. And you want to mention that in your personal statement because you think it demonstrates the willingness to commit to something for teamwork. And it just demonstrates that you're an all-round person. You have interests outside of your academic studies. And universities will use the personal statement to identify applicants with the greatest merit and potential to study on their courses. Now, some universities in general will use the personal statement in various different ways. You won't know how each university will use the personal statement. So it's always good not to take a gamble and really just take the personal statement seriously. Imagine it to be a cover letter for a job opportunity. So you're selling yourself. And the best way to do that, I have an example structure here, and I should emphasize this is just an example. But with these 6 questions, you could easily come up with, 30 to 40 words, and before you know it, you would have a full draft personal statement ready to review. So first of all, and the most important one I think universities like to see, is why you've chosen the course. So obviously you're given 5 opportunities, 5 course choices. They want to make sure that you're actually serious about the course, or they want to make sure that you're not that wasn't just a course filler. You didn't just, okay, I've got one more course choice, I'm going to pick that one. They want to make sure that you're actually dedicated for that course, because the last thing they want to happen is that you enroll in that course, you don't really have that much of an interest, and then you drop out or you find it difficult and you struggle. They want to make sure that you're really dedicated about that course before they consider you. So what is it about that subject area that really interests you? So maybe you are interested in history. You're thinking about applying to history. You study history in school. Are there any elements of history that you really like? If it's Irish history, is it Grattan's Parliament? Is it the War of Independence? Is it the Troubles? Is it, give examples of specific subjects about the course that you're applying for that demonstrates that you've engaged with it, you know about it, and you're actually really interested in it. How does it fit in with what you're currently studying? So again, in the example of history, you will know all about, or have examples of subtopics within the greater topic of history, and what you currently enjoy about it, what you find surprising, and what are the current questions in the field or course that you're studying, and shows that you actually know about what you're applying to. Knowledge and understanding of the subject area. Again, this comes back to my previous examples, but here what you might like to do is to talk about how you engage with that subject outside of school. So if it is, for example, history that you're interested in, do you watch a lot of historical documentaries? Do you read a lot of books? How do you engage with that subject outside of school? Do you go to symposiums that are happening in your towns or villages near you? Do you go to museums? Do you talk to your families about history? Do you have history conversations? Whatever it is, demonstrate that you have interest and understanding of the subject area outside of school. Personal achievements, these can be academic or otherwise. So these are really important because these demonstrate what you're like as a student and potentially as a higher education student. So maybe you did really well in an essay on history. I know I'm really laboring the history point here, that you were really proud about. Or maybe you won an award for your commitment to learning in school, or it doesn't even have to be academic. It can be a personal achievement. Maybe you were really proud about the time that you helped somebody out, or I suppose if you, again, coming back to the sport example, if you play football or rugby, any personal achievements that you think are worth mentioning. And then finally, what are your future plans after graduation, assuming that you get onto this course that you've applied to and are successful in graduating? What are your future plans? How does it fit in with what you want to do or who you want to become in the future? These are questions that universities like to know. So that's just an example structure. And on the UCAS application website, there is a personal statement builder that asks you various questions like these. And by the end of it, once you've typed in a couple of sentences, it generates a personal statement for you. So that is certainly worth checking out. So let me now talk about what happens once you've applied to UCAS and to Ulster University. So once you've applied, once you've paid for your application and submitted your application, that's when universities will consider your application. Universities and colleges are different in the amount of time they take in considering applications. For some programs, it may take longer than others, but you will get a decision back. And you will get one of 3 decisions about however many courses that you've applied to. So you can either get a conditional offer, an unconditional offer, or a decline. If you receive a conditional offer, this means that you've been made an offer for the course on the condition and provided that you meet the entry requirements on results day. So whatever the entry requirements were on the prospectus or on the website or on the UCAS website, that is the conditions of your offer. You need to meet those. If you receive an unconditional offer, this means that you've been made an offer for the course regardless of whether you meet the entry requirements. And a lot of times personal statements come into the receipt of unconditional offers. Universities will consider lots of things outside of grades achieved that you may be made an unconditional offer, and it means that you don't have to meet the entry requirements or points. And finally, a decline decision. And simply this means that you have not received an offer for this course choice and your application is no longer being considered. So for each course that you've applied for, you will receive a decision and it will be one of these three. So that's why when it comes to selecting your choices on UCAS, it's always good just to choose the 5. It's only a couple of extra more pounds and it means that you're getting more options on the table than you may need. And it's always good to have as much options as possible. So this is what the UCAS application website looks like. And you'll get a sense of this once you've created an account. This is what you'll see. There's a UCAS points tariff calculator in which you can type in any grades that you hope to achieve in those subjects and it will generate what the points are worth. It will give you a progress bar on how much of your applications you've completed, how much of your choices that you've used, whether you've started your personal statement, and whether you've nominated a referee. Choosing courses and adding courses couldn't be any easier. You simply type in the institution of interest and the course that you're interested in. And if it has multiple locations, you're asked to confirm which location it is and the year of entry that you wish to apply to. So once you've added your course choice, it appears on your UCAS application, and that is it. It is added onto your UCAS application. It's very, very simple. So I have explained a lot of information about the considerations of applying to Ulster University from the Republic of Ireland. But if you would like more information about Ulster University, about living in Northern Ireland, the application process, either visit our website, ulster.ac.uk, or give us an email at study@ulster.ac.uk. And if you are now ready to apply, then get your boots over to ucas.com, create an account, and rewatch this webinar to see how it's all done. So I wish you the best of luck if you're considering applying to Ulster University. We hope to see you in September. Thanks.